Hi there, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere, appreciate it. Today we're continuing on with Bibbins part 3, tree. Oh, best not say that number, it might summon a certain somebody. But yeah, we're still continuing. I believe there will be one more video after this in terms of Bibbins and these court documents, okay, just as a heads up. We're going to see what it's all about today. I think it's 1987, this court document, what went down, and just read for it exactly what was done previously. Hopefully you enjoyed, found that video interesting. For those that aren't quite up to date or unaware of what we previously looked back at, I'll provide a link, top right corner of the screen, the I symbol. You click on that, or you go down into the description of this video, you'll find them to catch up with, as well as the playlist and the video that was done yesterday. Make sure to catch up on it all. Also, make sure to catch up on last night's, because there was a breaking news update from Candice Cooley, her post on Facebook. I analysed it, made more sense out of it than some other people did. So check that out and let me know your thoughts there. Though, what we can do today in response to the news last night, or the coverage last night, we can at least acknowledge the comments and go back over them. You know, answer any questions if there need to be, see what people's responses were, any interesting information, like what we normally do, right? So that can be acknowledged today. Probably start with that first, following on from last night. Then we can transition into this other court document of Bibbins. Just as a short story, for those that might think, well, why are we looking at Bibbins now? It's just because the time has naturally come about to focus on this part of the case, or this area, with this individual who could be associated with the Dylan Rounds case. It is about looking at bits and bobs as we go along to form a bigger picture, and it might become a bit clearer. There is still that map analysis looming in the distance, and it'll be very interesting to get to that, share with you my thoughts and all kinds of stuff. But we're not quite there yet, but you know, just make sure to be on the lookout for it. As for Kenny Veach, there's still stuff to be done there, but for Dylan Rounds, I just want to focus on this series for now. You know, for those that are currently here in the live chat, welcome. Share your thoughts, opinions. You know, let me know what you think down below in the comments as well, if you do want to elaborate. For those that do join late, watch a different day, leave your comments and thoughts, opinions down below, whether you agree or not, whether you're shocked, surprised by what Bibbins has done over time and his attitude behind it. Let me know. Down below in the comment section, pinned comment, there'll be some additional links if you wish to check them out too in regards to my channel. So with that all being said and done, let's just briefly reflect on last night, okay? As for the chat, I don't think it was exactly focused, but hopefully people did understand, though, the video itself, what was being talked about. Hopefully people could at least understand that, I hope. I mean, we can look at the comments right now to see what people had to say and answer if necessary. Right, so I'm just going to adjust it to the newest comments and we can start from the bottom. Not that many to get through. We got Cleo there thinking. Skeptical says, I'll be there. Have the afternoon of work. I'm emotional. I don't want to see or hear it from anywhere else, just here where it's safe. Appreciate that. It's good that Skeptical feels comfortable here compared to everywhere else. That's good to see. Cleo says, agree. I have to nap just by looking at her face. I think Cleo's referring to Candice Cooley here. Amongst the negativity around me in real life, happy is taken real fast from me, takes energy out of me, and little good thoughts I try so hard to keep intact, it gets dismissed real fast. Right? And Badger says, how could you trust anyone else but Raf? So there we go. I mean, understandably, when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case community as a whole from day one till now, maybe it has been problems of trust issues and not being able to feel comfortable around people because you never know what's around the corner. And I guess that can apply, you know, in most areas of this community, but at least here it's a bit more controlled, right? And a bit more natural. That's the most important part. Sinaloa, lurking in the dark. So when you don't see her dodgy presence in the chat, don't worry, she is still present, okay, in the background. We got Dawn Marie saying, why did Candice Cooley use the past tense in the word helped look for Dylan regarding the dogs? Just an observation. It's a valid one. I can understand what you're referring to, Dawn. It would come across as if Candice Cooley's reflecting back on what did happen, the search for Dylan. Now, all of a sudden, it's no longer happening. I get that. I'll try and explain briefly. So it looks like the post by Candice Cooley to do with Dylan's legacy, retrospectively speaking, looking back on the past, looking back at the searches that have taken place and the deployments in general for Dylan Round's case and, other unrelated cases. It was about thanking the people with the money being raised and it being put into the Canine Task Force unit, and what good came from it was demonstrated in that post of what's previously happened. Not what's currently happening, but what's previously happened. So, I don't know if you remember, Dawn, there was a bit mentioned by Candice Cooley saying in January or February, there will be another deployment in Arizona, I think it was, and that'll be in 2024. So that's something to look ahead towards, not in terms of Dylan Rounds, but I guess another missing person case. So there is still things going ahead, but I guess for now not much can be done, or not as much is happening just because of the time of the year, getting close to Christmas, winter time approaching, getting cold, it's snowing out there, right? So that was one of the key thoughts to what I was thinking when it comes to searching, helping look for Dylan. Helped, I guess that's in reference to summertime of 2023, where Candice Cooley said there'll be searches out there taking place. But with it coming to the end of the year, the cold weather, the snow, the ice, whether it's coming full force yet or it's approaching, it is going to slow things down and probably put things to a halt as for searches. I don't know if you remember, but it was mentioned previously, and I think it worded by Candice Cooley, but also mentioned on some official website, that once the temperature goes to a certain number, certain degree, it means the dogs can't be used out there because their scent doesn't work as effectively. So it needs to be the correct temperature. And because of that time of the year, month, maybe it's no longer as possible. And, it's been previously said that when it does rain, that can impact dogs' scent or the scent of what the dog is trying to track. So the weather elements do play a big role. And if the weather isn't up to scratch, and it could be like that for a couple of months, it means no more searches for Dylan. And, I'm not saying that's 100% the case here yet, but it's probably approaching that inevitability. I'm just basing this off 2022 when it was coming towards the end of the year, going into the new year, how there was a long delay, months of not being able to search because of the harsh weather out there. So that's why they were really determined for summertime 2023. And I think from the general public's point of view, it seemed to be a bit underwhelming, but that's just simply because it wasn't publicly talked about as much as the first year of searches. We've got Pam. Thank you for the updates. You're welcome. We got Catherine, a different Catherine this time, saying, I think Lance Kelly also got a dog for searching. Thanks for the updates. Stay safe. So welcome to the channel, Catherine. You're welcome. And I appreciate that. You too. So yes, Lance Kelly, also known as Earthworm Infotainment, has been assisting with the dog training. I guess it's in North Carolina. Originally it was supposed to be, Hydra, the name of the dog, but things fell flat. So ever since, he's been working with a different cadaver dog over there. And he's been documenting it as he's gone along. He's done videos and live streams. And I guess eventually, whatever time that is, once the dog's properly trained and it can be used and Lance can start using it properly for searching for missing ones, maybe Lance Kelly will return back to Montello. I'm not, completely sure, but I'm sure he'll give his own updates when the time comes about. We could do like a little poll right now. I know last night some people said they couldn't see it, which is unfortunate. I guess that's YouTube to blame once again. If you do have any issues with polls being invisible, maybe refresh the tab, the screen, and see if that fixes it. But the first poll could be, once the dog is trained, do you think Lance Kelly will return back to Montello, Nevada, or Lucin? Or is that it for now? Let me know your thoughts. Smooth Fishing, great job. Appreciate that. I'm glad. We got Christy here. What's this? Christy says, my thoughts. They are so active and organised now that Dylan isn't here anymore. It makes me sad to know that Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds didn't find the time to visit their son out there for 2 years when he was working and creating his future in farming, following his dream. Source, the Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds interview in the Grain Shed by Heavy D. So I'll give you my thoughts in a second if I can, but it's good. It's good what Christy mentioned here, the source, explaining where it came from. I don't think enough people do that in this community, which is unfortunate at times. Trudy, I don't know if I've seen them before. Trudy says, Dylan, was only on the farm for a few days at a time. He went home in between and also worked other farms. Candice Cooley visited the farm before. Justin Round said he was never there. It's the same as having a child who is a travelling salesman. Would you go visit him in the towns where he's working, or would you rather go visit him when he is at his residence? Also, it's not just an up and down trip. They'd stay when visiting with him in the camper, or tow your own camper there 2 days, just not practical. Now, besides that, one thing I would like to point out as a possible question, and if it's already been answered, feel free to reiterate it down below, that's welcome. Besides the concept of whether Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds visited Dylan's farm or not, right? If they didn't, or they hardly did, kind of like how it's worded here by Christy and where it's quoted from, and although there may be a response to it saying that it's just not practical, right, because of the conditions, the distance, and that's his place of work, wouldn't it be better if the person working there actually visited the family or returned back, etc., etc. My question in, like a counter question to all of that would be, okay, family, most if not all or a few, didn't come down or never came down. So does that mean they never helped Dylan out on the farm? You get what I'm saying? Or, is it just simply possible to go on down to Dylan's farm just to check it out, just to see how things are going? Do you know what? I'm sure something about the main line and pumps being installed and some kind of maintenance in the earlier days, I'm sure some of it would have gone on. But, besides the whole visiting part and staying there, okay, Dylan didn't really do that himself, but, could have met up at that place to either hang out or more so maybe to assist Dylan with farm work, besides the likes of Dodgy Don and Brenner being the ones at hand to help. I'm sure there have been times where there might have been some assistance, but was there enough? Is that for the comments now? Looks like it. All I remember hearing in response to Christie's comment was, well, actually, this is the thing. I know people said Dylan did not live there at the farm. Dylan never did. No. And people like jumping in on that. It's like, calm down. Okay. You might not live there full time, but you can live there for a couple of days, right? And I think that's what we saw. Just look at Friday, the 27th of May, 2022. Dylan got back to his farm and he stayed there the night leading into the next day, the 28th. So he lived there for about a day or under a day, half a day. You get what I'm saying? You can temporarily live somewhere, okay? And, even the trailer, if the trailer was like the home of Dylan, which it's not really, but if it was, you could say that you're living at the farm temporarily because the trailer is the home and it just happens to be at the farm. But, as it's been worded by Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds in other interviews, right? That it'd be like a triangular effect where Dylan would go about from place to place, visiting grandmother, grandfather, visiting Justin, visiting Candice Cooley on a bit of a rotation But times when the weather was bad or not looking good for maybe a week or two, that he'd just like pack up and leave it as it is, kind of like how he was supposed to be doing on the 28th, and then just leaving the area to visit family members or some other people, right? And that's just how it was, and he's done it previously. Okay. If I do think of anything else, I'll bring it up to you later on in this video. But after coming to the end of the comments, it's now time to move on to the main part of this video, which is looking at Bibbins and the next court document, the official one. Here we are on screen. I will adjust it to the reader mode shortly. Just wanted to read those extra details on screen before they disappear. Bibbins v. State, Supreme Court of Wyoming, once again, and this occurred August 19th, 1987. Okay, as I said, the last one we looked at was 1985. There's a couple years on. Now, with that being in mind, activate reader mode. There we go. So, Brown Chief Justice. I'm just going to read it all out once again. Feel free to listen along if you wish to, or you want to pause the video, read it yourself, you're welcome to. So it starts off saying, this appeal is from the District Court's denial of appellant's most recent post-conviction relief petition. Appellant Kevin J. Bibbins states the issues are: 1. Did the District Court err in dismissing appellant's petition for post-conviction relief? 2. Was appellant denied due process by the failure of the District Court to appoint an attorney to represent him in post-conviction relief? Scroll down. We will affirm, on September the 9th, 1982, appellant was sentenced to 2 to 6 years in the Wyoming State Penitentiary for the crime of aggravated assault under Section 64506. This sentence was imposed after appellant pled guilty in a plea bargain in which the state agreed to dismiss one count of the information in exchange for the plea of guilty to the second count. Appellant did not appeal his 1982 conviction and sentence. Appellant has since filed a petition for post-conviction relief on February 9th, 1984. Appellant appealed the District Court's denial of his February 9th, 1984 petition. This court affirmed the District Court's determination in Bibbins v. State, Wyoming, 1985. Scroll down, there we go. Petitions for post-conviction relief were also filed on February 19th, 1985, September the 6th, 1985, and November 20th, 1985. Most recently, appellant filed in a petition for post-conviction relief on August 13th, 1986. This petition was dismissed by the District Court on September the 10th, 1986. Appellant's appeal is from the order dismissing his petition. Wyoming's post-conviction relief scheme is provided for in Section 714.101 to 714.108, 1977. Post-conviction relief proceedings are not available for every irregularity that may have taken place in the trial court, but are limited to cases involving a substantial denial of an accused's rights under the Constitution of the United States or the state of Wyoming, or both. Section 714.101. The post-conviction relief statutes do not contemplate successive petitions for post-conviction relief. Section 714.103 provides that any claim of substantial denial of constitutional rights not raised in the original or amended petition is waived. It mentions Boggs versus State again, like last time. Okay. Appellant cites State XL Hopkinson v. District Court. Okay. In support of his contention that he is entitled to file yet another post-conviction petition. In that case, we stated that the case had been before us on 3 previous occasions and that the questions presented had been decided twice before. The court then said, once a matter is judicially decided, it is finally decided unless adequate reasons is demonstrated to justify reopening and consideration. In that same case, the court also said, if good cause is shown, a review is available. At 65. What? The age of the person? This latter statement is... Well, it can't be the age of the person. No, forget that. This latter statement is not in context, and the first quotation is flimsy support for the notion that a convicted person has a right to file successive post-conviction relief petitions. This case was properly resolved by reference to the court files and the opinion of this court in Bibbins v. State Supra. Appellant had previously filed a petition for post-conviction relief on February the 9th, 1984. This petition was denied by the trial court, and that denial was affirmed by this court in Bibbins v. State Supra. Thus, issues raised in the most recent petition, which was heard in the first post-conviction proceedings, are res judicato. Okay. We hold the appellant is not entitled to have a second post-conviction petition considered. In his second issue, appellant contends that he was denied due process by the failure of the district court to appoint an attorney to represent him in post-conviction relief. With the filing of appellant's petition for post-conviction relief, he filed a motion for leave to proceed in forma pauperis and a motion for appointment of counsel. Section 7:14-104 provides in part, if the petitioner is without counsel and alleged that he is without means to procure counsel, he shall state whether or not he wishes counsel to be appointed to represent him. If appointment of counsel is so requested, the court shall appoint counsel if satisfied that the petitioner has no means to procure counsel. It says, we are aware that after the enactment of Section 7:14-104, Section 7:110 was enacted, this latter statute purports to limit the necessity of appointment counsel in post-conviction cases to indigenous whose cases are such that a reasonable person with adequate means would be willing to bring at his own expense. Some more sections there. In this opinion, we will not discuss the impact that Section 7:110 may have on a Section 7:14-104. We hold that under the circumstances of this case, the trial court was not required to appoint counsel to represent appellant in the most recent petition for post-conviction relief. We pointed out in the first issue that Wyoming's post-conviction statutes do not contemplate successive petitions for relief, Section 7:14-103. The trial court could readably determine from appellant's petition, files, record, and a prior opinion in Bibbins v. State Supra that a petition for post-conviction relief has been previously filed by appellant, that such petition has been acted on by the trial court, and that the trial court's determination had been affirmed by this court. The trial court could also determine with the materials before it that in appellant's first petition he had attacked his plea of guilty. Furthermore, the court trial was aware that in his latest petition, appellant was again attacking his guilty plea, albeit with a different focus. Under the circumstances, the district court was not required to appoint an attorney. Affirmed. Okay. Ubikit J files a specially concurring opinion. Justice specially concurring. In the belief that to never say never is preposterous, in recognition of the incapacity of the human mind to always anticipate what the future will portend, I generally concur except with the expectancy that the unusual and inevitable exception will occur to the definitive rule now pronounced. In recognition of the finality in the limit of one post-conviction petition as expressly mandated by specific terms of the statute, Section 7:14-103, WS 1977. Follows that the done right then done standard demonstratively applies. However, the constitutions of Wyoming and the United States cannot be abrogated by rule, and my reservation is retained for the rare exception involving events not now foreseeable, but at least as might result from ineffectiveness of counsel in the prior post-conviction relief petition, previously undisclosed prosecutorial misconduct or undisclosed perjury in the original conviction, which vitiates its legitimacy, even more obvious in a current news or convictions obtained under a letter invalidated statute or prosecutorial adaptation. Due process and equal protection intrinsic to the statutes of free people as guaranteed by our constitution should not have the time constraint as long as incarceration continues. Res judicata must, however, he applied for any system of delivery of justice to work. So there you go there. Thankfully, it was a bit shorter today, that document. Right, so there you go, after reading that. I don't know if people found it as interesting this time compared to the last document, what we read, but, you know, at the end of the day, research is research. I said, on the horizon, we've still got a final part with Bibbins when it comes to these documents, the 2011 one, which is a bit more modern, right? We'll see what that's all about. Well, let's also see how long it really is. And then once that's done, I can do a proper map analysis then, okay, like a rough one of Bibbins, locations, and how it can tie in with the Dylan Rounds case. You know, is there any little patchy areas in the case still to this day which, you know, viewers think are a bit odd or not quite fully clear? You know, let me know your thoughts down below. I can't think directly on the spot, but if there's any areas in the case, information you've heard, any events, moments which have been talked about, or what supposedly occurred on the day or around the time, has it been explained enough, or is it lacking detail? Let me know those examples down below and we'll see what we can do about it, because, you know, some discussions can open it up and might reveal more. But that's really it for now. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Goodbye, good night for now.